Okay, so y'all's teeth that needed to be relooked at was 3.4A, which is 1 and 2 step orthodontics, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, tell me about the exit ticket y'all did for that, or if you did an exit ticket, like a reteach.
The reteach. Yes. Okay, so we did a reteach. One of them was pretty straightforward, simple. The other one was a lot more complex, but it was kind of like just to see how they could apply what they learned and move on to a more difficult question. Trying to see if I can flip because I didn't have it. But the thing was, what I noticed in my class on the reteach, every single one got the first one right. The one that was just a basic, figure it out, and so they were able to figure out the operation after the reteach and after it's practicing POD for a week. Just tell me what operation it is. Tell me what operation it is. So that helped. Once I got into the more in-depth thinking, and it was really tricky, that one they couldn't get. But the positive was my average was more like 50% versus 13%. So it's getting there. It's just going to be continued practice and analyzing.
Yeah.
So I saw
And then-
positive things.
And then for mine, like I saw the first day, cause I did it for 2 days, that my kids were still struggling with like what operation should we do. So the first day, cause I did my secret a little different, I only had 50% do well on like the one step. So I spent the next day, I did like I guess like a gallery walk, and so I just had problems, and we practiced doing like body motion. So this is where you started, and as the story went, is your number getting bigger or getting smaller? And I just kept relating to them when it's getting bigger. Okay, we're doing addition. When it's getting smaller, we're subtracting. So after doing that, having them go for like 20 minutes, switching partners, talking. We did 2 problems, and they did fairly well. The ones who like were able to finish, and my average for the ones that did finish came out to be 67. But I still have some kids who are not finishing, and just side note, I know that they're doing a lot better because I'm reading the questions to them.
You said 67%?
For the ones who finish, but I still have a good handful of kids who are not completing, the extra ticket.
And I will add, you know how the kids are going straight to to addition right away. I made sure it was a subtraction, and for them to be able to get that pretty much at 100% shows that what Mr. Trejo suggested, operations, how do we tell? They were really able to apply what they learned. So it was a help. I had 2 kids make zeros, but they're my high kids, but it was because they say, I got this, and they go, and so that probably would have brought my average up had they slowed down. But anyway, I did purposely use subtraction because that's what we're noticing, that they're going straight to addition.
And I think I'm gonna keep what Trey had said, and maybe either do it for my fluency or either do it like maybe twice a week for one problem a day, but just put up multiple problems, and that 15 minutes just be us walking around looking at problems and talking about what we do. Because I would go to them and listen to their conversation and pick out what words, because we talked about sometimes the words can be misleading, but like really thinking about what happened, because that really helped a lot of them. It was just so easy, because then from there we just took the numbers and built the equation.
Right.
And we
I
also
feel like that's a good station too, for them not to have to actually solve the problem, but for
just
them
know
to
what the
quiz
question
each other on what the.
And one thing we were talking about yesterday, not only is it helpful for them to like do that, but also for them to know how to do the like fact families, like the opposite. Because we were talking about sometimes I can't remember the particular story, but like they'll say like Amy had some cookies, she ate 15 and 20 were left. How many did she start with? And so like truly that's a addition problem, but like if you're reading it and they're building it the way we taught them, they might build it as a subtraction. So I taught them how to put the question mark, and we do it vertically, and then to do the opposite, you go up the other way. So like if it's question mark minus 15 equals 30, then go back up 30 plus 15 question mark. And that has helped
that
a lot
was
of
yesterday's problem of the day with the unknown, and they see more and they're like, oh, we add, but wait a minute,
Really?
we don't know what we're adding, so don't pay attention to those words and think automatically we add. I showed them how to move it on over, and so we're doing that, but it's conversation and it takes time.
And it takes time, and it's gonna take time for them to be confident enough to do it on their own because they're doing really well with partner and guided work.
Yeah, so for my class, because I had both of our classes, and we kind of had the same results, but I think it was different. So for mine, the first one, most of them got it right. Got 70% got it right, the one step. The few friends who got it wrong on my side were a lot of my high kids. Same reason, they're just rushing. Even today, everybody got 100, but 2 kids, and they're my high friends who just rushed. Like I was, but number 2 was just all over the place. We got
Because-
37%.
So is
Because
number-
you wanna know what number
Can
2
y'all-
is, I'll
can
read you
y'all
number 2.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, is number 2 a 2-step or
It's
a 1-step?
It's a 2-step, but it has
Mhm.
more than, okay, so it's Charlie, Penny, and Lucy are all doggy friends. Charlie has 55 toy bones, Penny has 102 toy bones, and Lucy has 98 toy bones. How many more bones do Charlie and Penny have than Lucy?
Mhm.
So they have to analyze in their head, wait a minute, what's happening in the story? What am I trying to do? And we
looking-
did that, I did that on purpose, because we have a lot of questions like that on
Mhm.
star and summatives, where they have to like group something and then subtract to another one. And that's where I knew they were gonna get tripped up, but.
A lot of them got it right where they have to put
The 2 together?
Charlie
2
in.
together.
They all like most of them did that correctly.
But then
But then they
wanted
wanted
to
to add the other one, they
Lucy.
Then
forgot
they just
to.
added.
Like, once they got to the second step,
Because
they
somewhere,
stopped.
and we talked about this today, somewhere somebody told them when it says more, you add.
Right,
Yes.
and that's
And
where
I
that
was like, no, it
conversation
doesn't,
came
and
in
Amber was
yesterday.
like, no, it doesn't, da, 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 da.
But
And
that's
trying
why,
to teach them
Somewhere, somebody
how
told
many
them that.
more means you're looking for the difference, which means you're subtracting.
Right.
That's what I've been trying
And
to
it
do.
How many more than,
How
that
many
tells you
more
there's a
than,
difference
yes.
between
more
2.
than, but all of a sudden they see more, but even yesterday, it was an addition, more, but it was an unknown, so they were gonna have to subtract to get there. But I will say, I've noticed when, some people push in, they're telling them to look for keywords, and I'm having to go back and say,
Yes.
no,
I
don't do that,
keywords, you know, so we
Third
have
grade, we
people
don't do
coming
that.
in, even behind us, telling them to look for keywords.
And can I
I'm
just
like,
say
no.
something that I saw walking down the hallway? There's a 2nd grade teacher who is teaching them cubes, which is another keywords thing. So when they get to us, we're not doing cubes, they're gonna be messed up. Just, you
'Cause
might
we
wanna
don't-
go look at walls
yeah.
and see who's teaching cubes, cause I saw it when I walked by.
Okay.
And have a conversation with the teacher. That way, it's not me
Yeah,
being
that
the
should
bad
be-
guy.
No cubes like
Could
you
be
need to.
about it.
Circle
different
this,
circles.
underline
Oh.
this,
Yeah.
I
box
was like,
this.
boxing.
And those are
Oh.
keywords.
Yeah.
I mean, and we have to teach them, yes, those words mean something, but in this context.
That's not what it means.
Right,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of.
And
Whenever
even-
you ask them, can you explain, oh, it's adding, can you explain why it's adding? You always know who's just guessing, cause they
Mhm.
cannot
Yeah.
tell you why.
Mhm.
And that's what the biggest problem is, and especially for me, to my Spanish friends.
Mhm.
So I know there is some language barrier, but the other ones, their English is not that great, but they're doing better, and it's because of skills they learned last year that some of them are relying on, like the keywords that I'm trying to unteach, that
Yep.
it's not gonna help you, it's gonna confuse you,
Mhm.
And
so, yeah.
to add to that point, if we could have like a grade level base 10 representation model, cause we're having some kids come in who are drawing dots everywhere on
Oh,
the
yeah.
paper, like instead of
Mhm.
HTO. And so having to take the time to teach them that and what regrouping means, like, that's been an ongoing
Well,
lesson.
and then the same thing, going on to the thousands, we need to go back to the dots, sticks, and squares,
Yes.
because you can't draw cubes, and once we get to 4th and 5th grade, if
There's
they
no
still
have
need
those.
that,
Yes.
we don't have that,
Mhm.
you don't have anything past 1,000, so trying to teach them universally at this campus,
Yeah.
we use dots, sticks, and
Right.
squares
'Cause
for
Kind of how we
anyone's
had like a
tens and
reading
hundreds.
strategy and that, was universal. I think we
Mhm.
should start learning like a math strategy, at least for representations for certain things. Cause like, if we could start them in kinder learning like, okay, I draw dots for this, or I draw
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know, they may not be.
Yeah, I'll
Cause
start
the
with
But like
first grade.
first or
First grade,
second
yeah.
grade at least.
But
you
when
know?
we have a long-term sub, then it doesn't matter what
Yeah.
we teach the teachers, because that's what happened in our situation. The long-term sub taught them to draw sticks out all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be 17, I don't know.
17
Yeah,
sticks.
Well, she must have was in my room too, my kids' room
I
too.
mean, maybe,
They have it too.
yeah.
But my kids don't do that anymore, so yay us.
Mhm.
We're at
So
week
what
9.
I'm hearing
Yeah.
though is y'all, they did get on the 1-step problems, so the basic,
The
the
basic,
the
they
2
can do.
steps and analyzing the problem itself that they're struggling
Do you want my
Yeah.
numbers? 63 and 36. 63.
Well, and I don't have mine broken up by the thing, but it would be more like 90 something on the, because every single kid.
But that's
except
like
for
2
two that
groups, I
rushed.
think, right? You
Yeah,
should
that's
give
for
them
2
group
groups,
one.
not for
Yeah.
question 1, question 2, because I
But,
can't see it, because it's
Oh.
on you.
But
I can
yeah,
just see the
and then
grades.
0%, nobody nobody, because
The
even my high kids rushed through that last one, nobody got that second one
Yeah, the
right.
second one I have 9 friends on my side, and I think on your side, 8 friends got the second one.
And then as far as this one goes, I also feel like had they been given multiple choice options, or asked for the equation, asked for the answers, they probably would have high score.
But it would have been a guess and got lucky. It
Yeah.
Mine
It
did
would've
not
been.
know
Yeah.
what to do.
So did y'all do fill in the blanks on your exit tickets, like this
They were
one up
multiple
here?
choice, but I did the common errors, like the not regrouping, or adding
You did that
everything,
one.
or like, I didn't just do random numbers. I went through it and said, okay, if they don't regroup here, what would they get? What
Yeah,
would they do?
yeah.
What they forget? So,
Now,
we didn't do
No, because we didn't know
open-ended.
that's what it was gonna look like.
Yeah.
I know.
At
We
that
didn't know.
time-
But in a reteach, I didn't, only because I'm not trying to get them to get there just yet, cause I know it takes steps. I
It
need
does.
them to be able to analyze a problem
Yep.
and get there. But they always have to show us their work. We always put a folder where they upload it, so we see where they're making the mistakes.
Cause all y'all's exit tickets for this one's in Google Classroom, right?
Mhm.
Or the-
Google Forms, and then they
Girls'
upload a
And
photo.
then they did a picture of their work, so.
Yeah, we do the picture, and then if they get it wrong, they still have to go back into the Google Classroom and load their
Correction.
correction.
Okay. And then, lastly, what do y'all plan to do to reteach the two
I
steps?
am doing it literally now that I'm back. Every day is problem of the day. That's the skill we're practicing is.
Okay.
Go for it.
And
That's what I'm
same thing, we're doing problem of the day and really breaking it down, stopping and thinking about, but I'm gonna do it again as a mini group Tuesday before
Mhm.
to refresh, and they're gonna have, I'm not gonna do a whole group lesson that day. I'm gonna do like multiple mini groups, so I can break them into where your
Yeah.
deficit is and all that. And I'm gonna do the comic book thing again. I have it
Yeah.
cut out to where they're gonna draw what they see first, so that they can, it makes them slow down and really think about it. So I'm gonna do that again, one step. Cause I notice every time my kids draw it out, the picture of the story.
Yes. And
If
I
you read
love
it-
that idea, but if you don't,
Time.
if they don't know what the words mean, cause they
Yeah.
don't have the English, like today, the 6 plant, or what I did, 7 plants and 6 tomatoes. If you don't know what a tomato is in English,
Yeah.
even though it's very close, tomate, tomato is very close, planta, plant, if you don't know what those words means, it doesn't matter if you can draw it, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's my problem with the drawing it out, cause they don't know what the words mean in English.
I know, and they freak out when they see
Like
something
poor
in
Camilla,
English, even though
she
it's.
knows what to do.
Oh, you know,
Yeah.
she
was
was
happy.
happy. She was ready to participate.
But no, my
She got scared.
kids don't have that issue, so I can still
Yeah,
draw.
I
No,
know,
a lot
it's
of
different,
my
yeah.
kids do. So I like even today for area, I'm explaining to them like, hey, you don't need to read the whole problem. Like if you're having trouble and you don't understand, because I didn't do oral admin because that's not, none of them have that
Accommodation.
accommodation. So I'm teaching them like it says area in the question, and I'm only doing that in small groups for my Spanish friends who don't know English, like they just don't, because a lot of them are really strong in math. It's just the language barrier.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, teaching them ways around it, and then they did well in the exit ticket. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so
Yes.
The rest of them need a whole question, but
Well, cool. Is that it?
Okay.
Cool. And that was 13.